Well, autism affects about 1 in 36 children in the U.S.
In the Tri-States, the Great River Autism Connection is doing its best to help these kids feel a sense of normalcy. WGEM's Gianni Peterson joins us now to show us what's going on. Gianni?
Well, this Sunday, the group will host its second annual Sensory Santa event. This allows kids with autism and other sensory challenges to come out and get to meet Santa Claus. The noises of the outside world won't be an issue this Sunday at Point Divine Vineyard. Some kids with autism already have a hard time fitting in, so this event is meant to help.
It's a more controlled environment for those on the autism spectrum. When you're seeing Santa, such as like at a mall, it's very loud, there's a lot of noise, other people around, lights, etc. That can be detrimental to somebody and can cause trigger reactions that sometimes are not in the most positive way.
Justin Epley is a member of the Great River Autism Connection, and he himself has a brother with autism, so events like this mean a bit more to him.
Seeing these resources that we're able to provide for parents and knowing, like when my brother was younger, that those potentially may have been there, but my parents didn't know about it because things like this weren't around then.
Many kids with autism at most times tend to have walls up around themselves due to many reasons. However, there are ways to get them to let their guard down.
Just knowing the environment, knowing your person, and knowing what they like and dislike and what causes them to have that kind of anxiety being out and about, that is super important. And one of the best ways to do that is just really to get to know that person and then immerse yourself in their world.
The Great River Autism Connection is constantly working year-round to have sensory events for kids with autism. It is part of the Quincy Medical Group Foundation as well, and you can find more information on the QMG Foundation website. Daniel?
All right, thank you, Gianni. The Sensory Santa event will be on Sunday starting at 2 p.m.